Hello all, I hope you're doing well today. This video is something of a dispatches from the modern UK to see what we're up against. And half of these clips have come from the brilliant UK Aesthetics account on Twitter, well worth a follow. Now first up, you may remember London's bridges have been blessed with the diversity barriers, famously. They're there in case one of the radicalised members of the religion of peace is feeling a bit spicy one morning and decides to ram into some pedestrians. Well, you're not going to believe your luck, because now in central London we also have warnings telling us not to walk too close to the curb because someone might ride along on one of these e-bikes and steal your phone. The wonders of diversity, eh? Of course, being in Starmer's Britain, it's unwise to speculate on who might be behind these thefts. One thing we can say for sure is it's not the architects and the engineers. They're just wrapped up in their socio-economic factors. Let's safely assume that it's those white privileged kids who, have been watching Andrew Tate and have yet to have seen adolescence. Although even black folks themselves seem to be experiencing the realities of modern London. This fella came on holiday from Barbados and got attacked. Apparently he has to stay here now to get care on the NHS because he can't get it back home. However, many people are questioning who it was that actually attacked this fella. After all, if it was a white guy, you'd expect Channel 4, as well as the rest of the mainstream media, to make a bit more noise about it. Talking of noise, those of you who have to travel in and out of London will no doubt be aware of the state of the modern underground. In fact, it's getting so noisy now, even the older arrivals have to tell the new arrivals to shut up.
The station is Southfields.
I just have one question. Are you new to London? You new to London?
Yep.
How many years, months?
I think it's 7 months.
Oh, that's brilliant. So I just wanted to ask, 'cause I heard your music, like cool South Asian music, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like in London generally, we don't play the music out loud
Okay.
on the like trains and things. But I love a bit of Bollywood.
Now, many people are saying she handled this quite well, which to be fair, she did actually. She's doing the Lord's work. I dare say it drives many of us nuts when people are making a racket on their phones on public transport. Although incidentally, I have seen this sort of thing before. I was on the tube once and these Romanians kept carriage hopping with a great drum and a trumpet singing Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles, then demanding money. It was actually a black woman who stood up and told them to shut up and get off the train. And I remember thinking, well, good for her, it's a noble civic duty, but it was notable how the whites were very cowed. They were either liberals pretending that the whole thing was part of the magic of diversity, having some foreigner banging a drum at 8 a.m. in the morning. And the rest of the people are either worried about winding these folks up into a frenzied attack or being called a racist, which may sound silly, but in London it can make you a social pariah, it can cost you your job, you might even end up on the front of The Guardian as they paint you as some violent neo-Nazi. Do remember in the secular ideology that Nazism is synonymous with Satanism. That's why any form of nationalism is highly suspect, and why this woman finds England flags in England highly disturbing. Now, I've had to take the audio out of this clip because it has a song and YouTube will take the video down, but this woman's basically saying, oh my god, look at all these England flags, I've entered the dawn of the dead, I'm in so much trouble, this is so dangerous, I've got to get out. Clearly, she's absolutely fine, and they've only got these flags up, I assume, for the women's football or something like that. Of course, this just feeds into the liberal ideology of the age. The real danger in England is those patriotic Englishmen, and they're tied to their country, don't you know? Those evil bastards. What we need to do is put our faith in the new Brits, the real Brits, the people with courage and with justice in their hearts who'll defend this country. Again, I've had to cut the audio. They put music behind all these videos. People have the attention spans of goldfish and so on. But the issue is that this guy is saying, would you fight for the country? And the guy says, absolutely no way. Why not? Because this ain't my country, bruv. I might be a British citizen, but I'm here just to live and be at peace. Good to see that integration is coming along swimmingly. But look, in truth, I don't blame this fella for thinking this way. I'm not a liberal. After all, this guy's bound to have loyalty to his family, his postcode area, his brothers, and maybe even his home country. Why? Because people have deeper roots than the ideology of liberal modernity. To expect these people to come here and start listening to Oasis and integrating with us fully and going to pride marches and the rest of it just isn't going to happen. But you can always find the minority of examples where this does work. You know, the Muslim who's gay and attends pride marches, the black guy who denounces rap culture and instead becomes a devotee of Grayson Perry. Or better yet for this system, he becomes a trans gay rapper talking about anal sex with men and things like that. You know, subversive things, challenging toxic masculinity. Of course, this is the vision of our beloved Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, the goblin that guards the gates of London, as I call him. Here he is speaking to one of these overfunded, anodyne, middle-of-the-road podcasts about how he'd like to show Donald Trump around the real London.
Come to London and let me show him around our wonderfully diverse communities. Let me take him on the Pride March this coming summer, next summer. Let me take him to a mosque.
So you have the most powerful politician in the world coming to one of the world's most historic cities with ancient history, once ruled the world, all sorts of amazing things you could go and see, and you want to take him to a pride march and a mosque. And of course all of this revolves around this utopian liberal bullshit that you go into some mosque in the middle of London and find, oh, they all love pride marches, they've got trans flags up and they love diversity and sharing the space of London with other religions because that's the Islamic way. Except it's not the Islamic way, is it? You absolute cretin. And we know it's not the Islamic way because Muslims tell us all the time it's not the Islamic way. Case in point, here's a recent tweet from the editor of 5 Pillars. That's a popular British Muslim news website. He states, I simply don't care if a minority of Brits are unsettled by the Muslim presence in Britain, by halal meat, by voluntary Sharia courts, by mosques, by e-prayers in the park. I simply don't care what racist and Islamophobes think. Your idealistic notion of Blighty never existed and will never exist. Britain has changed and change is part of life. Just as I will never change your opinion of Muslims, you will never change my opinion of you. And my opinion is that you are sad, worthless individuals destined for the hellfire unless you embrace Islam. What could be more modern UK than this? A Muslim berates you for being supposedly racist while calling you a sad and worthless individual because you're not Muslim. Very UK, very meta. And just when you think the timing couldn't be more opportune for the King of the British to step forward and say, all right lads, you've had your fun, you're not going to gut out the soul of England, this is our sacred homeland and we're not seeing it used like this. Instead, he's opening Islamic study centres and saying it's more imperative than ever to understand the Muslim world. But where there's a grift, you will find a grifter, and it seems that many of our Western women are now so detached from their own roots that they're happy to act as a honeypot for the men of the subcontinent.
Assalamu alaikum, I hope you're all well. If you either already speak Sylheti but you want to become a little bit more fluent, or you're learning to speak Sylheti, I've got the perfect product for you.
I bet she has. If I was to be cynical, I'd say this girl's a bit too mid to make it in modelling or acting and has decided on this new grift to try and extort money from the men of Bangladesh. I mean, look at this intro. This girl knows what she's doing 100%. The fluttering eyelids, the big smile, caked with makeup, flattering lighting. I mean, in a way, I feel sorry for her. Imagine her DMs. It's going to be an absolute tsunami, a 9/11's worth of show Bobs and Vagine. And to compound matters, there are reports coming out that the World Economic Forum's Basim Haidar has donated $1 million to Reform UK. Pretty much confirms their controlled opposition, if true. But in this depressing mess, there are silver linings. One of them is realising that our European brothers have the same challenge we do, and it's time to start standing together for Western civilization. This is well summed up by this clip that came out of Paris recently. It's a Moroccan lighting his cigarette on the eternal flame of the tomb of the unknown soldier. And again, this just sums up the complete failure of integration. I mean, it's highly inappropriate anyway, even if you don't know what it represents. But you should if you're living in Paris. I mean, it's an eternal symbol of their war dead. You can even see from the reactions of the tourists in the background that they don't quite know what to do. This doesn't match the narrative of diversity in Europe that they've been given. Now, please let me add in conclusion, I know it can be painful looking at some of these clips, and the mainstream seems to revel in it as well, which can make it infuriating and depressing. But we should not lose our hope and courage. England isn't dead, Britain isn't dead, Europe isn't dead, the heart is still beating, the soul is still there in our countryside, in our people, in our culture. What I'm talking to cannot be decimated by modernist ideology because it lives beyond the mind. It can't be obfuscated by Starmer's latest push for censorship because it's your very being. And in the midst of the modern darkness, we actually have the opportunity to find the light that sustains. If you're interested in more of this, do check out the Substack. You can also check out the sister channel, The Sacred Way. It's about personal and spiritual transformation. That's down below. Other than that, let me know your thoughts in the comments and do consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. Take care all.